So there we go. I'm just going to do a quick, well, it's not quick, but I'm going to make a astrodoodle to get us up in tune here. That's very kind. Thank you so much. Really, really helps. Basically, it's gasoline money. Thank you so much, Necessary Truth. Just checking in because I was not able to make it last Sunday. It's already now Friday the 12th. It's crazy. Time's been going so fast. I wanted to apologize because I've been dealing with severe fatigue. And it's just part of my life at the moment. It's a phase I'm going through. And I'm just very glad to be here at all right now. So, of course, I haven't forgotten about everybody. I was thinking about you guys, but I just didn't know what to do. It was hard to pull up the energy, but I have a few minutes tonight right now, and I feel strong enough to do a little tiny show. It's just basically all about the Astrodoodle. And I wanted to get a few things off my chest. First, let me just check in with everybody. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Thank you for showing up. It's it's early evening over here, and anyway, we just had that full moon. You know, the Aquarius moon, the Leo sun, and everything. But it was kind of a multi-cluster effect because of the big fat T-square with all the energy there piled up in the middle of Taurus. The North Node in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, Mars in Taurus, all of that. Creating huge amounts of, let's say, I would call it highly explosive volatility in so many different interpretations of my words. Okay? Thank you, Necessary Truth. Very kind. Very, very kind. So I just wanted to run through a few things, get my notes out there. Of course, there's tons we could talk about, and then figure out what we can do. I'm going to go back over here. So here's what I'm talking about. This big fat T-square has been lingering for some time now. Because of the Leo energy over here, Saturn moving very slowly. Let me mark the retrogrades while I'm at it. We have Pluto. Let's go backwards. Neptune, Jupiter, and Saturn, all retrograde. And we're already stationary retrograde for Uranus thing here. So it's like, please brace yourself for more bizarre, crazy, insane upheavals. More perhaps like little spontaneous miracles and things. I often associate the Uranus energy with spontaneous miracles. Now we have this cluster here. Let me show you. This is it. This is what I'm talking about. It's been going for some time. We've been talking about it for weeks. Previously, we had this highly combustible cluster over here when Mars was conjoined with Jupiter, and the subject of war and violence was expanding all across Earth, and now it's mainstream. Over here, of course, as predicted, it now is official. It is mainstream. The subject of war is officially mainstream, and it will remain mainstream because it's very big energy, very global energy, and it's like a smoldering, you know, like those old-fashioned dung heaps that people would light in prehistoric times because you know, animal poop was used as fuel, and they would just keep it smoldering and use that for heat and for cooking and everything. But you add a few firecrackers into it and it becomes extremely dangerous, especially if you don't know where they're buried. So when you add the Mars and the Uranus together, it creates extreme volatility, like just explosive, ridiculous, highly unpredictable, random situations that are potentially very dangerous, very volatile, and also it's all about the awakening that comes with it. Now, of course, there's the Earth's aspects, which is, we're seeing it with so-called climate issues and extreme flooding, extreme heat and drought, bizarre fires, bizarre explosions, bizarre, outrageous sabotage that we're seeing across the earth with the global food chains and all of that. That's just become routine news now in the places where I get my information. You're not seeing a lot of it in the mainstream in America. I don't want to dwell too much on all this scary stuff. I just want to get it out there so I don't dwell on it. And it's just like purging. Basically, I'm doing this to purge myself and to help you guys so that you don't get all constipated with worry about all these scary things that are happening. Okay? So we have this Leo Aquarius opposition here, but we also just had the Aquarius full moon, and the moon is already nudging over here into Pisces. So that's going to change things a little bit here. But this is still pretty fierce, this big fat T-square. As you remember, I think we did a show a while back and we mentioned the big grand cross when the moon was over here in Scorpio. Now, we've moved on 2, 4, 6, 8, another week later. And all that amplification of the scary stuff happening on Earth has now manifested. We're seeing it in global politics, okay, over here. 11th house, global politics. Saturn in the 11th house, testing global politics. What's actually going on? Are our politicians working for us and we the people, or are they out for their own gain at the expense of we the people? Well, Saturn is going to continue to flesh that out. And over here, it happens to be that the Leo-Aquarius axis aligns very strongly with the United States North Node. The United States North Node is right over here. And it's being heavily lit up. So the United States is being challenged to stand up and show basically tremendous pride, courage, and leadership for we the people over here in the masses. Now, is that happening? No. At first look, it's not happening at all. We have somebody in this country, his name's Joe, and he's supposedly running the show, but it is literally a show of assured mass destruction. It's part of the agenda, let's put it that way. I'm not going to talk hardly about that at all, because hundreds of channels are talking about it now. You can't suppress this stuff. It's freaking everywhere. All those 3-letter names from 3-letter government institutions that have become totally weaponized and perverted and corrupt in the United States, but in fact all over the world. So anyway, what we're seeing is violent disruption all across the world, especially in the global financial markets. And so that's impacting everybody. The buzzword, of course, is outrageous inflation. And that's very real, and it's very scary. It's a precursor to war. And everything that's happening right now is essentially a precursor to larger scale war. So I just want to go on about that. With the Leo Sun here and Venus moving into Leo, I feel that there is a lot of pressure on the United States to stand up and be a good leader. Do the American North Node dance. That's the imperative of the United States. And frankly, there are probably 100 million people in America who are already ready, willing, and able to do that in order to, protect and defend our Constitution, our rights, and all the amendments of our Constitution, and to celebrate the wonderful experiment that we have in this country. Before 1776, before 4th of July 1776, there was no other population on Earth that had a formal declaration of who we are and how we're going to do this thing. Before then, it was always monarchies, dictatorships, and let's say just old-fashioned types of rulership that manifested through generations and generations of behavior that was deemed to become redundant. And that's what they call the Founding Fathers noticed. So they decided, screw this, we're going to do something unique and special. We're going to flip it upside down. So we are going to have elected leaders who work for us, we the people. And if they don't do their job, we're going to take them out. And so that's what's going on right now. This thing called the United States has been completely erupted and corrupted. And as you know, everybody now is also talking about this. It is the massive historic Pluto return of the United States. And no one's ever talked about this before on a planetary scale for a country on such a large scale. And it's about time, because we can't do it as a human being, but we can observe very carefully and very vividly when it's happening to the United States. Because what's happening to the United States and our Pluto return, of course I said this many times, it's impacting the whole of the rest of the world. Because with Pluto, that 250-year cycle, we're at the very tippy end of it. And for America, it's at the 27.5-degree mark. We're still retrograde, and we're going to be grinding over here until 2024, okay? So things are going to get really, I would say, ugly. Really, really ugly. The whole of 2023, if you look at the charts for 2023, it's a mess, people. Just giving you a heads up. So we got to prepare, all right? Necessary Truth put a note about stock markets on the up. So well, there's going to be a lot of volatility and ups and downs, zip, 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 as people are looking for safe havens, because there are a lot of people predicting catastrophic implosions to their economies and currencies across the world as a side effect of America, this thing that we know, imploding itself. And that's a very long and complicated video itself, but just for now, tonight, I just wanted to get this on record. So I believe that as much as possible, the United States is doing the best it can to represent itself in the North Node energy of the United States. This is our mission, our duty, our direction, our energy, to head here, to show outstanding courage and leadership, and to create an environment of vivid self-expression, fun, private enterprise, and opportunity. Okay. And America has to live by example. So if we go down, everything else goes down. And there's a person who's still around, and he's got a lot of supporters, and somebody just raided his house. I'm sure you all know who this is. And one of those three-letter institutions raided his house, and a complete, utter abuse of our, let's say, Constitution, our government agencies, in an attempt to shut this guy up. Now remember, this guy, Donald, he has an extremely powerful astrology where his Gemini, it's over here, he has a Gemini North Node conjunct his Sun, almost conjunct Uranus. That's an extremely powerful indication of presidency and leadership, because many American presidents have had Uranus conjoined the North Node to be a president, whether it's a good president or a bad president. Anyway, so that became very exciting and very disturbing, very shocking. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And that's what's happening to that fellow, Donald. So I just want to list a few other things that I feel coincide on a global scale. It's all the way I see it. It's the big fat T-square that I just illustrated, that big fat red triangle. The center point is the Uranus-Mars North Node conjunction over there in Taurus, okay? Massive disruptions. global finances. The global financial markets are in absolute chaos. They're trying to keep it together, but there's also a shadow side effect where there are certain parties, individual institutions who want the demolition of the status quo because they're going to profit tremendously. And I don't want to go into that. Okay, next point. I just actually made this one. It's about the United States with our North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius. We're being heavily tested right now as a country. Donald has Pluto plus Mars conjoined in Leo, and he's just becoming stronger than ever before. And that's a huge problem for the people who hate his guts. They're terrified of this guy. They're absolutely terrified of this guy because he doesn't play their game. In fact, he's out to demolish their game. Next, obviously you've probably noticed more explosions, more fires, more sabotage all across the world. Recently, Google tech provider servers, massive outages, explosions, more food explosions in food processing plants, more floods and drought. Some people feel that the floods and droughts are actually engineered by, the bad guys at the top for their own benefit, trying to destroy planet Earth the way we know it, destroy agriculture, destroy the economies, and try to euthanize at least 2 billion people. Of course, we have the bug. I don't want to talk about the bugs too much, but they just keep pushing more and more ridiculous stories about the bug and having to get a jab. Stupid stuff. Next, we have the situation over here in Ukraine, very well documented all over highly respectable news sources now. You probably know about the nuclear power plant. It's much bigger than Chernobyl in the 80s. The plant is now being held hostage by a bunch of Russian soldiers. And the Ukrainians are actually trying to bomb the Russian soldiers inside Ukraine's own power plant. So that tells you how terrifying things are right now. If that power plant goes up, it's going to be much worse than Chernobyl. The whole of Central Europe is going to be affected in a very, very bad way. That's Russia, Poland, Bulgaria, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Russia, Belarus, and possibly even beyond. Now, China, on the other side, of course, is going absolutely berserk as well. So everybody knows about this, of course, is now becoming mainstream news. We've been talking about it for a long time, but basically China is enemy number one for the United States, and sometimes for even other parts of the world, but primarily the United States, even though America, as we know it, is deep in bed with China. China is deep in bed with America. I call it Chinerica. If Chinerica tries to slice off our heads, they go down. If America tries to slice off China's heads, they go down. I mean, it's mutually assured destruction. So they're going to have to find a way to duke it out somehow or other. But China is issuing extreme, hyper-violent threats after Nancy did her outrageous trip, and they're going to try and make a play on Taiwan. They've never done it, but it's been going on for decades. We'll see if they actually do it. But, China has to, they feel that they have to do something because China also has this Mars conjoined Pluto thing, the way I look at their astrology with the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. That particular chart, the way I look at it, it has all the characteristics of a highly violent, highly abusive character. And that's what the CCP is. It's basically the world's biggest organized crime syndicate. Far worse than America ever could be or the mafia ever could be. And they're trying to take it all across the world. They want everything. They want our land. They want our water. They want our cows, our pigs, our chickens, our turkeys. They want all our minerals. They want everything. So they know they can't do a nuclear thing on us because that'll destroy all the land. Okay? So they have to figure out ways to wipe out Americans by, sinister, probably weird electronic sabotage or something. I just talked about the Donald over here. That FBI raid was it was spectacular news, and Donald took it like somebody just like a pigeon pooped on his hair or something. He knows it's not a big deal, but it looks outrageous in the media. But what it really is, it's a display from all the outrageous folks on the other side, the people who hate Donald. They're doing everything they can to destroy that guy because he's literally the human representation of everything that they don't want. And they try to take him down, especially they don't want him to run for president in 2024 because they know it would be the end of their little freaking game. But we have to go, we can't just like sit here on our laps and say we've got it figured out, because we don't. We actually have to live through all this stuff. With the United States, we are going through the decay, the death of the United States as we know it, and this is inevitable. And it's just like a solar return. Every year you grow out of the last year before you. It's like rings on a tree. Okay? So with the Pluto return, it's just another ring on the tree. We're going to be starting another Pluto cycle for America in about 2 years, when Pluto finally moves past Capricorn and into Aquarius for real. And then we've got another 250-year cycle, and we're going to start all over again. We have to make it better this time, because we're not gonna allow all the disgusting squalor and filth that has infected our government. Every single aspect of government. It's just obscene. It's just like you open a refrigerator and it's full of rotting food, and it stinks like the worst bad milk you've ever known. That's Washington. And all those people who took the Chinese money, took the bribes, they deserve to go down. So we'll see what happens, but that's part of the process, going from death into rebirth. There you go. I hope I didn't scare you, but that's my little notes for today. That's my astrodoodle for today. So yes, necessary. I only learned that. I only learned that about the Uranus North Node thing very recently. It's not for every president, but it happens quite a few times. I don't have the list of names, but it was very interesting to see them all. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to check out now because I've said what I wanted to say. I got it out of my system. I just have a little bit of energy, and I just wanted to use it in a very hopefully useful, practical manner. And so that's why I did a little thing tonight. I'm hoping I'm strong enough to do a little show on Sunday evening. We can have our little gathering. I can do about four public mini readings. And those are by donation. Thank you very much, everybody, for your generosity over the years. I am going to sign out now. I'm going to play one of my own little tunes. I think it's about 5 minutes long. If you want to hang out and listen, let me see if I can find it, and I'll play that to you, and I'll just wipe out from here. You don't have to listen to it. I'm just going to play it anyway. It's called Love is the Word. It sounds like this. It's kind of like a fighting stomp, fighting survival. We have to survive. We will survive, okay?
days I reach up for the skies, opening my hands to welcome in the day, gather in the sun's rays before I'm on my way, and the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole, casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard, resonate inside us, love is the word. Moving through the day, pray no accidents arise, giving thanks to heaven that I am still alive, blessing my enemies, blessing the ones I love, praying for forgiveness for any damages I've done, and the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole, casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard, resonate inside us, love is the word. Now the day is done and moon is on the rise, my trials and tribulations all bottled up inside, I summon in the numb as I reach up for the skies, I command all fear and shadows be gone before my eyes, and the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole, casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard, resonate inside us, love is the word. And the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole, casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of